Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, but welcome to this workshop that we're planning on giving today. The focus, as you've seen from the title when you've already signed up, is Nordic Service Mapper. This is a new, you could say, web-based interactive mapping tool that you can use to analyze and visualize access to services. The focus is on the whole Nordic region, and this is a tool that has been developed as part of a Nordic project that was called Geography of Services. And so this was a project that was commissioned and funded by the Nordic Thematic Group for Sustainable Rural Development. And the tool was developed during the previous year, and it has now basically this week been launched formally. So the intention of today is just to demonstrate the tool, show you a bit what you can do with the tool, and hope that you will then ask us questions that might pop up, and then Oscar and myself, who have been working on this project, will then try to address these questions as good as possible. So in the current version of the tool that we have four different service types, namely access to grocery stores, pharmacies, schools, and libraries, which could all be considered key service types when you think about services that you need when you live in a certain location. You can read more about the project from the link that you see here from our website, but without any further ado, I thought I would now leave the floor to my colleague Oscar Peña, who will now demonstrate the tool and its different functionalities. If we go to the next slide, you will see a link to the tool, which can now be accessed on the address nordicservicemapper.org. As you can see here, we will also share this in the chat. But please, Oscar, take over.
Thank you very much, Mats. We also want to mention that you can, if you can have a look at your name alias in Zoom. So if you open up the participant tab and you right-click on your name, you can change your name, and please also if you can add your organization in your alias. So you right-click your name, and it says it says more. If you hover over your name, it says more. When you click more, it says rename. So please add your name, and we can see who posts the questions, and we can respond to them more easily. Okay. I'm Oscar Peña. As Mats said, I'm a GIS analyst, and together with Mats, we developed this tool. As he said, this is a tool that enables cross-municipal and regional comparative analysis on the potential geographic accessibility to basic services. With scaling possibilities of a web mapping platform, it also enables assumed an overview of access to these services at local level. So first, we will show you the tool, and then I will tell you a little bit about the data behind this tool. After that, we will pick up questions from you in the chat. And then lastly, hopefully, if we still have time, we will come back to questions regarding the platform and the future of the platform, the near future, with the next steps for this platform. Okay, so if you haven't already browsed into the nordicservicemapper.org, you can do that. So we can also follow the steps that I will do on my screen here, and then I will close this presentation. I will also open up the platform. So this is what you will meet when you browse into the Nordic Service Mapper. You will see the mapping page. which is a zoomable map. You can zoom in and out. You have, by default, open here the legend, where you see the service types that Mats mentioned. And you change the service type by clicking these icons in the legend, basically. So what we're seeing here is it's the street-based or road-based proximity to the nearest service location of these types. And what we're seeing in the map is the aggregate at a 5,000 meter grid level. So the colors represent the average proximity within that grid. So the colors, what you see in the legend from yellow to dark blue, is a quintile division of all the grids in the Nordic region. So it spans from the highest 20% to the lowest 20%. And you can open up, if you see this blue icon up top left, when you open that up, you will see all the regions and countries, regions, and municipalities in a list view. So for instance, opening up here, Sweden, you can click on a region like, for instance, Uppsala. If you open that, you will see all the municipalities that is in Uppsala län, which is Uppsala region. And you can see that those are also highlighted in the map. You can also unclick or unselect single municipalities from this selection. Now you see that on your right-hand side, when you select a region, you will see a statistical window, which will show you then reaggregate numbers to that particular regional level. So you will see the average distance for the population in that particular selection. So you have the different service types. You have groceries, which is the dark one, and then going all the way the gray scales here over to libraries, which is the right-hand side here. You can also rearrange these so you can see them stacked. And this is for the entire region. When going to the group statistics by, you can reselect and rearrange the data to the municipality level. So by clicking municipality, there's a little lag here. Let's reselect. Oh, here we go. You will see the data reaggregated at municipality level, basically. Then for this project, we also had a strong rural focus. So we wanted also to be able to analyze data by urban-rural categorization. So clicking the urban-rural typology, you will see now for Uppsala region, aggregate numbers, figures by municipal categorization. So these are rural municipalities in Uppsala, urban municipalities in Uppsala, and intermediate municipalities in Uppsala. And this classification is taken from Eurostat, so it's the Eurostat degree of urbanization classification used here. You can also select municipalities just by clicking in the map. So when you hold down shift button and left click in the map, you will get a map-based selection. Here we can also see the selection made in the list view. So when you click a selection in the map, it will also turn up here in the list view. And you can choose to select another municipality in the same region or select the whole entire region if you like, which is Jämtland in this case, which also enables you to do map selection across the Nordic region. So for instance, by selecting a municipality here, which happens to be a municipality called Sysmä in Finland, and then do the comparison with, you can go down here, and you hold down Shift, click again. This is Lolland, if I'm not completely wrong. Lolland. And then when you go on municipality level, again, need to wait a couple of seconds, it should be updating. Yep. So here you can see then the comparison between two municipalities in different parts of the Nordic region. So in this way, you can add municipalities in your selection and in your analysis. The last thing in the map that I wanted to show is the zoomed in sort of rendering, which we call a Worman dot rendering, which is basically all these dots you see here are diagrams showing two variables. They show the size of the diagram shows the size of the population in three categories, and the colors show the same as when we showed in the grid view, the zoomed out grid view. So it's the colors going from highest to lowest, but then adding also the population size. So what we're seeing now is these aggregate numbers at 5,000 meter level, and then zooming in even more, it will automatically change to the same type of diagram, Worman dots, but at 1,000 meter level. And then you have in the legend both the proximity and the symbol size, which is the population in this case. Yes, I think maybe we can pause here to just check the chat. Mats, is there any questions? No questions so far.
No questions for the moment, but please,
okay.
If you have any questions that pop up, do not hesitate to write them in the chat, and then we will try to answer to them. There's actually, now we have one question, Oskar, about the measurement of how accessibility is measured. This is Schenk Demirolu, who asks from the, he's asking how is accessibility measured? Transport network data sets or Euclidean distances?
Proximity is measured by road base, which is in this case all the roads basically traversable by private vehicle. So it's road-based network proximity. Yes, and we got a question about data.
About where the data is from Anne-Berit Rofos. And also, can you zoom in on an actual shop, actual library, etc.?
Yeah, good question. We don't have the actual location that we base these calculations, these proximity calculations on. It's not included in the mapping tool. So zooming into specific locations, service points, no. Let me tell you about the data. the data is gathered from here, Localize, which is a geodata provider, basically, which is the most comprehensive location data provider out there, basically. And then we combined it with OpenStreetMap. So we verified here statistics with OpenStreetMap, which is a crowd-based source of data. And service locations, they quickly change over time, which is a challenge when trying to monitor this at this broad geographic scale. Yeah, since it's not gathered from national agencies, we're constantly having this ongoing process of check and verification, which is mainly the most important step for us at this point. I hope that answered the question about data.
Yeah, and maybe we can I can add on here that, as Oskar mentioned, of course, when we're talking about services, this is something that is changing quite rapidly. Service points might be added, or for example, schools or libraries or grocery stores may be shut down. So the situation might change quite quickly. And having that in mind, if you use the tool and would notice something that looks odd in a region that you would be familiar with, we're very grateful if you would contact us and tell us, if there might be something that looks a bit strange, and then we could look into this further and what the problem of the source of the problem might be. Yes, now we have another question from Kjetil Jørgensen about what about service from petrol stations? Would you add these to the map?
That's something we're looking into, and we've had that question from other people as well, and it's certainly something that we find interesting that we might possibly do. Yes.
And of course, the service data that has been used for this contains data on numerous types of services. So there are now, in the current version, we have these 4 service types, but indeed there would be possibilities of adding more service types at a later stage.
Good.
Okay, so now a follow-up question from Anne-Berit Rofos.
Yeah, I must, because
Yeah, the question is, she is asking because, for example, they have an interactive map on aging with a lot more services, data, and you can zoom in on the actual locations. So from that perspective, it would be very helpful for like different districts of the city and inhabitants.
Yeah.
Now we have a very good question, which is actually good that it popped up also. There's a question about how is this in relation to the tool that Tillväxtverket maintains, namely People's Service Analysis. And we have indeed, this is a different tool, but we have actually collaborated with Tillväxtverket also in this project, and we have been in close dialogue with them. And actually, as a separate part of this project that we're talking about now, the thematic group project, Geography of Services, in another part, in addition to the tool that we're demonstrating now, Tillväxtverket has added a few different service types also for Norway and Finland, which is an extension of the People's Service Analysis tool. But this is not yet a full version, it's a proof of concept. So this is something that indeed could be further developed later on. I don't know, maybe Oskar, you have something more about how this tool, Nordic Service Mapper, can be, how that stands in relation to the People's tool.
Yeah, the people's, as you said, Mats, the people's or the service analysis that Tillväxtverket is hosting has really been the sort of the role model, so to speak, when we developed this tool. Ideally, we would also feed in data to that platform, and that was actually an initial idea for this project, that we will sort of contribute with the Nordic data to the service analysis platform that Tillväxtverket has. And this proof of concept that Tillväxtverket now developed with Finnish data and with Norwegian data to that platform is a part of a future collaboration stemming from this project as well. So I think that time will tell if sort of more work is going into this platform or rather directed over to a collaboration with Tillväxtverket. But this product is mainly coming from a will to finalize a platform showing Nordic data at the end of this project. So that's the background of this platform.
Indeed. And now we have another question from Marianne Bendiksen, asking about whether if we have considered mapping accessibility to public transport as another service type.
Yeah, that was one of the service types that we actually wanted and prioritized to include, but we had some data quality issues with that data, so we couldn't add it at this point of launch. But that's definitely on the top of our list of service locations to add. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No immediate questions. Let's see if any more pop up. Okay, a very good question from Anne-Berit Trofos. Who is the end user? Well, I can maybe start by just saying that, well, first of all, we think that, of course, when we're talking about regional development in the Nordics, as has been the focus of this project, I mean, one crucial part that we know fairly little about, especially at the Nordic scale, is really what is the situation like when we're talking about access to these key services. So we see like the primary end user as, of course, I mean, this is a tool that can support decision makers at regional level, municipal level, but also we think that this could be of interest for academics, researchers, in various ways, but also for the general public. So we, of course, like the main focus is to support policy making, but we, as this is a tool that is free access, open to all, so so we hope, of course, that this will be used by as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we have a question from our dear colleague Åsa Hildestrand. Yeah, could we say something about potential collaboration with NVC, Nordic Welfare Center, and their map related to aging population, as was mentioned above? I mean, yes, indeed. I mean, when we're talking about regional development, I mean, one of the key demographic trends is population aging. And especially when we look at many Nordic rural regions, we see a tendency of depopulation. So I mean, in terms of demographic change, there's a decline in population in parallel with population aging as well. And of course, maybe in addition to this, in many places, a decrease in the level of services. So of course, this is something that has a close connection. I think that one thing that we have been talking about when looking forward into the future would be that it would be very interesting to update the data set that we have now with more data for, in a couple of years. So then we would be able to look at the change over time, because this is now the tool shows the situation during a certain period last year. So, I mean, when we're talking about, for example, in Finland, there's a tendency where many primary schools are being shut down. So now we see access to schools, but how this has changed over the course of time would indeed be very, very interesting. So there is a clear connection, and I think that this is something that we could and that we should further explore in coming projects. And now we got a good tip from Anne-Berit Trofos, something that we have to look into, Oscar. It's a link to another, apparently a web-based mapping tool or map, where we can check a similar map from New York City. So thank you very much for that link. We will indeed look what they have developed and maybe be able to draw some inspiration from that.
Excellent.
Yeah. So are there any final questions that you might have? Okay, someone. Yeah, I think it was New York City, if I'm correct, NYC.
Yeah. But Åsa, you did mean NVC, right? Good.
Indeed.
Oscar, question.
Oh yeah, there's a question from our dear colleague Diana. Perhaps more of a research question. How can this help regions understand potential for further development or meeting various indicators?
Yeah, good question, Diana. I think that in terms of regional development and rural development, I think this is just a tool for sort of displaying the situation, and that could sort of spur the discussion, and it could facilitate maybe a political decision around the access to services at a local level. Pointing, for instance, to selecting a rural region and to compare it with sort of a similar geographic in another country could spark a discussion on disparities across countries and across rural regions across countries. So this was mainly the point of departure for this tool, and it's a platform. So any other like new features to be added could easily be done, and I think that we should be open to have that discussion both with researchers and with practitioners on how to what kind of functions could be added to this tool, which is usable for both academics and practitioners.
Yes, and we have another question about why we selected these 4 variables. So Bette Malmros from Region Stockholm is asking, what is the main reason why we have now decided to incorporate these 4 service types in the tool at this stage?
Yeah, maybe I can answer. It's a balance between data quality basically and relevance in terms of basic services. So as Mats mentioned, we have access to a vast list of different types of service categories. But these 4 basically were at this point something that we could broadly verify the categorization in the data and publish at this point. So that's the background of that. And then the sort of the basic service relevance of them that made us choose these ones.
Indeed, we have another one from Anna-Berit Rofos. She's writing that this could be very interesting, especially if more services would be provided. She is working with questions concerning age-friendly development, and she knows that Nordic municipalities and cities would be interested, and that there might be collaboration with Nordic networks, perhaps. And this is a very good and interesting point that you raise, sort of related to what Åsa was also asking about in relation to demographic change and population aging. What we are now showing is, we see a lot of potential for further research based on this. So the analytical output from this project is coming. So this is now the tool that has been developed in this project, and we see a lot of potential to build further on this. And of course, population aging is a question that we are very interested in at Nordregio, when we have several different projects focusing on this issue. So indeed, this type of collaboration could be very interesting for us as well.
We're looking at the clock here. It's 9:31.
Indeed.
So I think we have run out of time.
I will just add our email addresses here. So in case you have any questions or comments that you would want to, that might pop up at a later stage, or that we were not, able to answer now, please be in touch with us. Maybe as a final comment, Åsa mentions here that maybe we could say something about the VOPD project and access to healthcare in rural areas. So maybe, Oscar, as you've been working with this project, you could maybe say a couple of words about this as well.
Well, I can say that we're currently, Nordregio has done quite a lot lately on related to accessibility or proximity to different kinds of services. And one of the projects that we have collaborated with together with NVC and the Nordic Council of Ministers is the VOPD project, which is the
distance spanning healthcare solutions.
Care and healthcare with distance spanning technologies. And a lot of the output from that project was map-based and GIS-based. And we've gathered the research that we have done related to accessibility under a page at nordregio.org, and I think we could just throw that link also into the chat. We can do that after this has ended, where we've gathered results from the VOPD. You can find the links to this platform and other research that we have done related to accessibility, potential geographic accessibility.
The link has now been added to the chat.
That's excellent.
Okay, but okay. We're very thankful. Thanks to all of you who have tuned in. Very great that this many could join us this morning. We're looking forward to hearing from you and your experiences from the tool. So yeah, thanks from my behalf, and have a good day to all.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.